You're now listening to the Jca Sports Podcast on Spotify and Anchor. To the Jca Sports.
Yes, sir. We are back, the Jca Sports Podcast, alongside Eric Avila. My name's Jose Contreras, guys, and welcome to another week, a new week, Eric. And it just seems like there's always so much to talk about in the world of sports, and that's why we actually love sports, because it's never a dull day, never a dull week, never a dull month or a year or a season, because exactly what we're going to get into today. We're going to get into the Chicago Bulls and season in its entirety. We're going to get into some postseason talk. And then, of course, we're going to get into some MLB baseball season, who just started. The first series in the books, 3 games in the books for both our teams here in Chicago, the north side and south side. So we'll definitely talk Cubs, we'll talk Sox. And let's get right into it, man. First and foremost, how are you doing today?
Oh, man, I'm doing fantabulous, if that's even a word.
Fantabulous. That's a new word. I don't think I've ever heard of the word fantabulous before.
Nah, man, I'm doing great, man. Like you just alluded, man, the weekend, I think this is what we aim for. Just a weekend full of sports, just even across the globe, and on my end too, on the football world, the real football. But yeah, you're right, man. It's just it was just great all around, guys. Make sure you also share all our shows too as well on your Facebook page so people could join us. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Make sure you guys follow us on all our social media platforms too as well. So the Jca Sports Podcast here for you guys.
That's right, Jca Sports Podcast. We're also, guys, you can catch all our episodes, past, future, and present, on Anchor and on Spotify, so make sure to listen to us there. Eric put the link in right there, and you see on the top screen, you see Eric's profile. That's the StreamYard link. That is where we are broadcasting from. You can click that link, allow access to both your microphone and your camera, and you could be on the show with us. Ask us all the questions you want with Cubs, Sox, Bulls, NBA in general. You want to talk Bears? We'll talk Bears with you. You want to talk hockey? Why not? Hockey season, postseason coming up, or to Eric, the regular season coming up. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to talk. You want to talk Liverpool and how dominant they are? We can talk that too. I mean, we are able to cover all different types of avenues here. We can even go a step further. You want to talk about that new series on Netflix that everybody's talking about? You know what I'm talking about, Eric?
You talking about Moon Knight?
No, that's Disney Plus. We can do that too, though.
Wait, which one you said? Netflix?
Talk about
Wait, I didn't hear what you said.
It's a new series on Netflix.
Oh, I haven't watched. The only thing I watch on Netflix is The Ranch, but that's neither here nor there.
The Ranch? The Ranch. I don't think I ever heard of The Ranch.
It's I know we're going a little off topic, but it's all good.
Of course.
It's the guys from the Sunny Ashton Kutcher, Danny Masterson was there too. What's that dude's name? The old guy with the mustache. I forgot his name. Sam Elliott. I think that's his name. Or Sam, whatever it is.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, but it's a real country, very America-like TV series. Yeah, dude. But it's a good episode. You'll see a lot of familiar faces on there too.
No, the show I'm talking about is The Ultimatum. Me and Paulina were all in on that show. Really good show. Okay. But anyways, let's get back into the world of sports. Right? That's what we're here for. We're here to talk sports with you guys.
Yeah.
And let's get into some baseball talk, especially Cubs and Sox, because we're here in Chicago. I mean, we can talk all kinds of baseball, but let's stick to our hometown teams, and let's start with the ones on the north side. Eric, the Cubs went 4-15 against the Brewers in 2021. A season Milwaukee won the NL Central, and the Cubs traded a third of their roster. But they're already halfway to that win total, man, against the NL Central rival in 2022. The Cubs took 2 out of 3 from the Brewers in their season season opening series at Wrigley Field over the weekend. And I want to ask you, Eric, I want to get your thoughts overall. And let's start with the pitching, man. Kyle Hendricks, Justin Steele, Marcus Stroman, they literally set the tone for the Chicago Cubs in this series. Could the Cubs have could have asked for a better opening act than from their starting rotation?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Kyle Hendricks coming off the worst season of his career talked about in this spring about wanting to set the tone early this year, and he did just that with a vintage performance in the season opener. But Justin Steele and Marcus Stroman followed him with strong debuts as well, Eric. And I want to get your opinion on what you saw from those guys, and how what can you see them accomplishing this season.
Look, man, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay, I kind of want to take a step back, relax a little bit, and not get too excited about the Cubs. I enjoyed the performance. On Thursday, Saturday, and even yesterday's performance, even though it was a loss. Yeah, I like how this team, the pitching matchup, it's going to be kind of difficult. For any team, obviously, Steele looked like I didn't think he was going to get that type of performance. But first game jitters, however you want to call it. Kyle will forever be Kyle. I kept a close eye on the Stroman performance yesterday, simply because okay, new guy, see what you got. Let me see what his stuff looked a little lively yesterday. I enjoyed seeing that. And all in all, the starting pitching over the weekend, was really good. The bullpen, other than yesterday, was okay too as well. I enjoyed the Cubs pitching so far from the rotation and the bullpen. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because it's only 3 games into the 162, but I enjoyed what I saw over the weekend against the Brewers.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I enjoyed it myself. I was kind of surprising. I don't want to come here and say that I thought the Cubs will fold early because we didn't know exactly what they had. But they surprised me. They did surprise me. Hendricks went 5, 1 1/3 innings pitched. Eric with 5. He only allowed 5 hits, 1 run. Steele, same, only allowed 4 hits. And Stroman also went 5 with 2 hits allowed. I mean, these guys did their thing, man. Hendricks had 7 strikes, Steele 5, Stroman 3. It's a good starting point, right? It's a good foundation. That's what you want to see from a team like this. You don't know exactly what this team is going to be.
100%.
I think we all came in kind of feeling that they weren't going to be able to do much. They were going to be bottom of the barrel team, but I think you have some talent there. In the starting rotation, you have we know what Hendricks is. He was an ace on a World Series contending team. We know what he is. He's a professor. I think he still has a lot left in the tank. And Steele was a pleasant surprise. And Stroman, he's had some good years in the past, especially with the Mets. It's just what hurt him is obviously his off-field antics. The stuff he writes on Twitter and everything like that. But if he gets in the zone and starts to put out more outings like this, we have something here. We could compete a little bit. Would you think that's a stretch, or you think
No, I don't think so. I don't want to put my Cubs fandom ahead of me right now, but I honestly, I've said it myself too, in previous conversations with colleagues at work, and I did say, the Cubs, it won't surprise me if they're going to be bad, but also it won't surprise me if they end up being better than what we anticipated them to be in the beginning of the season. I know John, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today, said that he put up a bet screenshot that he was going to put $100 as the Cubs being the worst team throughout the whole MLB. I'm like, I don't know about the worst team. I told him to fork over that 100 because that would have been easy money for me. But the one thing that I saw about the Cubs is it's although it's not a star-studded lineup how it is on the South side, but what I see and what I saw so far over the weekend, the first 3 games, is the grind from the Cubs. They've taken a lot of pitches. They don't have a lot of swing and miss. Suzuki was fantastic over the weekend. He 3 for 8 with 4 walks. Had an RBI and a homer on top. 4 RBIs and a homer. So far in his major league debut.
3-time homer, 3-run homer that was just a bomb.
Yeah, and it's just like
crazy.
It's a team that you see, and it's just like, okay, like you could get behind them. It's a likable team. It's a team that it'll surprise you if they take it to the long haul. I think that's what it is. Like if they're in the fight for a playoff contention spot, I'm like, damn, the Cubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it also would be like towards the tail end, if the wheels started falling off, I'm like, well, you expected that because it's the Cubs. So So I love what I saw over the weekend. I enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy Cubs baseball just a little bit. I like the making of this team. The fact that it says their mantra this year is different here. It feels like a different atmosphere
It
for
does.
sure.
It does.
But I don't know, man. I don't want to get ahead of myself.
I get it. I get it. If there's anything we learn from our basketball team, it's don't fall in love with with a hot start. And look,
exactly.
Look, the Brewers had a below average offense last year, right?
Yeah.
And it's only been 3 games, this season, right? But this is still an encouraging start for the rotation, especially when there is big
100%.
questions coming into the season about our rotation. Wade Miley being on the injured reserve list. This rotation started off on the right foot, and that's what we needed to see. From these guys, especially like someone like Kyle Hendricks, who I mentioned before was an ace on a World Series contending team. The as far as pitching goes, what I do worry about is the bullpen still. The
100%.
bullpen blew 2 saves to Milwaukee, surrendering 3-1 and 3-0 leads on opening day. And to end this past Sunday, the Cubs won the opener but lost, on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Both scores by 5-4 through 3 games. The bullpen has allowed Eric 7 runs on 8 hits and 5 walks in 11 and 2 1/3 innings. So I mean that's still a big concern. I think we kind of knew that coming into this season.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think there's anything we can or should do to improve that, or do you think within time, with trades and free agency and maybe even draft, that'll come naturally?
Nah, man. You know what? With this Cubs team, you just have to just sit back and just sit on your hands up until where you are at in June. Let's be honest. If you are 4 games below 500, but in the playoff picture is kind of where you start looking at it. You're kind of like 2-3 games out of like that final wild card spot. You're like, oh, okay, we're here, we're there. And then you see what you do in June. And obviously the trade deadline is in July 31st. And if you're still in that mark, I'm like, okay, cool. Unless if you get some ridiculous trade offer for Wilson Contreras, that's probably when you have to like kind of blow it out the water that we're making the playoffs. But if you're kind of there and you're like, okay, if we're just one pitch away to kind of contend to see where we can make it into the playoffs, or maybe just one bat away, I think we can do it because our farm system is kind of deeper than it was previous years. So again, to answer your question, bro, it goes either way, man. Like I don't know, with this Cubs team is just that's where they are. They're on the fence. They're on the fence of either being really, really good or they're on the fence of being just, really, really bad. And you just have to sit back and relax and just wait and let the season play out for itself.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. And I agree with you 100%. Going back to Suzuki, Eric, you mentioned it. Many expected him to need a little bit of time here to acclimate himself to big league pitching. But we saw in the Brewer series, man, this guy showed something. He definitely passed with flying colors, going 3 for 8, as you mentioned, with a home run and 6 RBIs.
6 RBIs.
In a 3-game series. He joined Larry Hoffman, Starling Castro, and Jorge Soler as the only Cubs with 6 RBIs in the first 3 games of their careers. Pretty good company to be in, for sure. Just as impressive as as his discipline was. He's seen 57 pitches through 3 games and has only swung and missed once.
Oh yeah.
That right there, that stat right there is like, wow, okay, this guy is a very, very patient hitter. Mm-hmm. You could tell he was a star over there in Japan. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of teams betting for him, and he chose the Chicago Cubs. Lucky for us, right? We love that. I mean, this guy, he seems like he could be an instant star here in Chicago.
For sure.
What's something about this guy that excites you and that you would love to see him, improve upon here in Chicago?
The patience, man. I think the patience is what I love about it the most. Seeing it up close and personal. This dude is just really, really patient at his at bats, man. He looks at him, he goes all the way. He doesn't have a lot of swing and miss action, like you just say. He only swung and missed at one pitch out of 50 some odd pitches that he saw in this 3-game series. It's this guy's mindset. Like, this is what you want to call a true legitimate hitter. It's just, if there's like a perfect way, like, this is not a perfect way to start your season as a Cubs, as your tenure, but it's probably damn near good to start off your season the way he did. Nothing but expectations are high up here. I kind of want to throw in a $20 bet, and I should this time, right? Not like last week with the NCAA tournament and the championship game. But I kind of want to throw in. I kind of want to throw in like 25 bucks on Suzuki winning Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean
that's the expectation, man, and I can kind of see it too. The weekend series just has enough proof that this guy can hit. He's patient enough. Now, granted, it's first 3 games of the season.
Yep.
We still got to see what he does in the dog days of summer in June and July for him to see if he's actually good enough to be in the major leagues.
Yeah. Overall, Eric, 3 games in the books. The Cubs play tomorrow. What are your initial thoughts? How do you feel about them, and what do you think is going to happen this season?
No expectations. That's the way I'm. That's the way I'm going through right now. That's going to be my mantra for that. I have no expectations for this team. Whatever they do won't surprise me neither here nor there, unless there's somehow, some way. The only way they can surprise me if they have like a good 6, 7, 8 game lead in the NL Central, and that would be surprising for me for this Chicago Cubs team because I alluded to earlier. There's no star-studded lineup. It's not a star. It's like basically Wilson Contreras and everybody. Well, Wilson Contreras, Suzuki now, I guess, and everybody else. This team has no stardom, but it won't surprise me if they do good. That's the only surprise for me, Jose. If they're 5, 6, 7 games above the Cardinals, and honestly, let's be honest, Jose, it's a wide open division. It is super wide open. So if it's there for them to contend, and it's in the summer, and they're like 2 games away from the Cardinals to compete, why not? It's just the summer will be the year. The summer will be the time where my focus will be truly on the Chicago Cubs and where they're at and what they're gonna do.
All right, let's shift our focus, Eric, though, to the south side. The Chicago White Sox opening weekend against the Detroit Tigers was a mixed bag, with a loss on opening day, blowing a 3-1 lead through 7 innings and losing 5-4. However, man, in the next 2 games, the White Sox bounced back with 2 decisive, dominant victories and a strong reminder of why they are the team to beat in the AL Central. The White Sox didn't provide many surprises, but few players stood out, and what we saw has to be known as the season starts to develop, Eric. Looks pretty good for the White Sox.
It does. Oh, go ahead.
They leading 4-3 over the Tigers and won out in the 9th inning with their star closer on the mound with a full count. Ultimately came down to 1 bad pitch that pretty much lost them the game there. But I mean, definitely a game they could have had on opening day. But they could have easily been 3-0. And like 2 decisive victories. They put up 9 one game, 10 in the other. You start to see the offense, and we knew how dominant this offense could be. We didn't see much of it in the postseason, but that's when it gets harder when you're playing against elite teams. But that's aside. That's in the past now. We move past it. You're a White Sox fan, you move past it. What were your initial thoughts? Seeing how they performed this, I guess, in the first 3 games this early on in the season.
It's what you expected, right? I think the Sox kind of lost their opportunity to be undefeated, and should be one of the only 2 teams to be undefeated this year, and the loss on Friday. But the White Sox has a tough opponent, and their tough opponent. It's not the Twins, it's not the Tigers, definitely not the Guardians, and definitely not the Royals. Their toughest competition is health.
Okay.
And I think that's what's going to make them from either being a World Series contender or just another playoff team. I know I said I picked the White Sox to be in the World Series this year. And in my head, I only picked them because of this whole broadcasting curse that I want to start building up. Just pick the teams in the offseason and just curse them away. But, if it's my favorite team, I just don't want that to happen. But to be honest with you, Jose, that's the Sox biggest competition this year is health.
Yeah.
You seen Kopech. Was it Kopech that went out with the abdominal injury? Or was it Kopech? Or was it somebody else? Who was it that went down? Somebody went down. They only lasted an inning, maybe 2 innings, got hurt with an abdominal issue. Crochet, done for the year, kind of after we had the baseball talk. A couple weeks ago, went down arm with Tommy John surgery, it just keeps adding up. That the injuries, same thing that happened to them last year, is going to be their bugaboo this year again. That's their biggest opponent is health. And it's going crazy. Frankie, what's his name? Andrew Vaughn was probably the shining light this weekend, and now there's rumors out there that he might be traded to Oakland for a pitcher in Frankie Montas. So it's just like, is it, to me, my question to all the Sox fans out there and to you too, Jose, is, are the White Sox hitting the panic button too early and trading away Andrew Vaughn for Frankie Montas, who is one of the top pitchers in baseball? But
you get quality pitching. That's what's going to lead you to the championship. I think we all know that, right?
Right.
You need quality pitching to get you through throughout the regular season, and then once the postseason starts, that's defense, pitching, great pitching. That's what's going to keep you in games. We've seen from Dylan Cease, man.
We had
strong start here. Picked up where he left off last season. In his first start of 2022, pitched 5 innings and only allowed 1 run while striking out 8 in that 5-2 win over the Tigers on Saturday.
Yeah.
But what stood out to me, Eric, about Cease is it's not like how he dominated on the mound. It's mostly just like his game in general. You know what I mean? The guy relies on his fastball slider combination. It gets him through games. But with both pitches he had, man, they were working. This guy, he focused on 2 pitches. 70, focused on 2 pitches, that fastball and that slider.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. And that's what he does best. And the Sox have, dude, like, this team can be scary. This team, I wouldn't say, to answer your question, that they're hitting the panic button too early. I think what it is just they don't want to repeat what happened last season. They don't want the injury bug to pile up, throughout the whole regular season, then trying to get guys healthy back for the postseason. And we've seen how that worked, and it didn't work. Right. It didn't work well for them. We see how it works for the Bulls now. It's not working well for them either. So do what you can to improve your team, improve your roster. Doesn't matter whether it's in the beginning of the season, middle, end. You do what you got to do. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be a great trade. Like I said, they have quality pitching. You've seen. I think the Bulls.
It's getting kind of small, man, because losing Crochet and the injuries, man. The pitching wasn't all that great to begin with the season for the White Sox. I think that was probably the biggest question marks around the whole national and also locally too as well. The pitching wasn't there for the White Sox. You're getting pitching now.
It's the bullpen that's disappointing. You know what I mean? It's easy to look at the bullpen. I mean, especially after the first game, they had a 3-0 lead through the 4 innings, but allowed 2 runs in both the 8th and 9th. And that's Hendricks on the mound. You know what I mean? That's supposed to be your closer. That's your bullpen right there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to see what you have in your bullpen. I think that's what's gonna hurt. You know what I mean? I think Dante Farrell Jones even said that bullpen. That right. As far as your starting rotation, I trust those guys. I get what you're saying. It's looking a little slim, but you have quality arms there that could get you through those games. It's when you get into the later innings, when these guys get tired, that's where it's kind of like, okay, what happens here? How do we close out? Luckily for the White Sox, a big deterrent to that bullpen, being as bad as it is offense, and they've showed a lot of it these last couple of games, and I think it show plenty more throughout the season because you have bats that can score at will. That's what the team was known for last season, and I think it's only going to get better this season.
You're absolutely right, Jose. But at the same time, it's like you're giving up a guy who could be a stud in Andrew Vaughn. That could be your potential future. I think he plays first baseman, but right now they have him in the outfield because of Jose Abreu. He could be a potential stud for you for the team for many, many years. And obviously he's been one of those guys talked about in Chicago. Like, if that's the guy that we all kind of want to have, right? I think there was a poll I seen on Twitter. I don't know who had it, but it was a very good question talking about who has the bigger upside or something along those lines. Is it Andrew Vaughn, Justin Fields, Sadeo Suzuki, or I think it was so who was up from the Bulls? Was it Io DeSumo? I think it was Io DeSumo too. It was the question, but that really questioned me. And a lot of people obviously picked Justin Fields, but Andrew Vaughn is that guy who could be that difference maker for years to come. That could be the successor for Jose Abreu, and for the trade talks for Frankie Montas to trade him pitching for that bet that he has. I don't know, man. It's kind of too quick for me. It's pulling the trigger. I understand it's just the first 3 games of the season, and I know you need pitching that aspect too as well. But if it's true what they're saying, and you could run away with that division, wait till comes up. Maybe you could get a better, cheaper option, and not give up give up Andrew Vaughn for Frankie Montas. But that's what's the rumor that's out there, man. So I don't know, man. To me, that's like hitting the panic button, knowing that you're not gonna have what is it? I think Giolito. You're not gonna have Giolito for 2-3 starts. Yeah. And obviously with Crochet done for the year. You don't know what you're gonna get from Dallas Keuchel and Lance Lynn. I think he's also coming off an injury too as well. It's just kind of like, okay, man, you're hitting that panic button a little too quick.
Yeah, I agree. Other notes from the White Sox there, despite being only the first series in a long 162-game season, there was more than enough action that took place in Detroit over the weekend. As you mentioned, A.J. Pollock had 4 hits and 7 plate appearances before leaving Saturday's game with a hamstring injury and then being placed on paternity leave. Quite the weekend for him, indeed. He had a solid weekend for sure. Lucas Giolito pitched 4 scoreless innings in the opener with 6 strikeouts. Unfortunately, Giolito will miss at least the next 2 starts with an abdominal strain. That hurts the Sox a little bit, as you mentioned. Injuries starting to pile up. Michael Kopech pitched 4 innings in the series finale, allowing only 1 run with 3 strikeouts. Every Kopech start is watched and baited with breath by the team and fans alike. As you know, his injuries is history as well. Mm-hmm. I said earlier that the bullpen was a bit weak. They actually had a strong showing. I was wrong in that aspect. They looked pretty good. As basically it was the strength of that team over the weekend, Eric. And look, that's what you want to see, right? Yeah. Like I said, we know how talented this team can be.
100%.
Again, they proved that they had a 97 win season last year, right? So we know that they're capable of doing that again. What needs to be seen is the consistency throughout. Last season there was a lot more questions than answers as far as can they beat the top teams, the top tier teams, the teams that are playoff contending teams, that the stronger teams. They were unable to do it, especially late into the season. That's why you start off hot. You do that now. You do that. With your series coming up and going forward, you got to keep that consistency level. Especially if you're Tony La Russa, you got to drill that into these guys' brain.
100%.
Because you don't want that doubt creeping into this season, the same doubt that you had last season. You know what I mean? Because that can be infectious and hurt the team in a very bad way.
No, you're absolutely right, man. I just really do hope that this team stays healthy, because it's a big expectations to not only just in Chicago but also in all the major leagues, and nationally too, that the Sox are the favorite to coming out of the American League are the favorite to come out of the American League to contend for the World Series. And if injuries and if they can't stay healthy, it's going to be a problem. And like you said too, that was their issue last year, beating teams that were in the playoffs. If that's the same issue again this year, expect another World Series. Expect another team to be in the World Series outside of the White Sox.
The White Sox will play their home opener on Tuesday against the Seattle Mariners. That's tomorrow. Who wrap up a 4-game series in Minnesota on today. The series will only continue to test the roster powering through opening week. So yeah, it's gonna be a great test for them for sure. They open up in the South Side at Guaranteed Rate Field tomorrow, so Chicago's gonna be hopping for sure.
100%.
Let's get into some NBA. As we learned yesterday, Eric, where the Bulls are going to, I guess where they're going to play and who they're going to play in the first round of the NBA season. But before we get into the Bulls, let's talk the NBA as a whole, the playoffs as a whole, and let's get into the play-in games. Tomorrow's the first game. Tomorrow will be the first game between the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's a one and done. Winner goes on and faces who's number 2 in the East? Boston Celtics.
Boston.
So winner will face Boston Celtics in the first round of the playoffs, and then you have the other teams. Damn, which one is it? Is it Charlotte?
Charlotte and Brooklyn.
No.
Charlotte and Cleveland.
No,
Charlotte and Oh my god. Jeez. We literally just looked this up right now too. It's Charlotte
Charlotte, it's
and Atlanta.
yes. So tomorrow, let's just reiterate, start over here. So tomorrow, Cleveland Cavaliers, Brooklyn Nets, 6 p.m. on TNT, followed by the Clippers and Timberwolves, right after. And then Wednesday, the Hornets, Hawks. That's the other teams. Winner of that one faces the Miami Heat in the first round of the playoffs. Then you have Pelicans, Spurs. And let's stick in the East real quick, Eric. Let's dissect these playing games, right? You have the Atlanta Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets. Two young teams. Obviously, what the Atlanta Hawks were able to do last year with Ice Trey going into New York, making it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. That team was on a hot streak. This year, not so much. They kind of went backwards a little bit, took a decline, but they have a chance to at least try to reciprocate that success they had last season. Yep. As you know, momentum is huge in the playoffs, especially in the NBA. One huge game can carry that. You can carry that throughout the whole series. So if you're Atlanta, how important is to get off a hot streak and get Trae Young going, knowing that if he goes to Miami, he could have that same kind of performance he did last season.
Yeah. Before my answer, you guys listening to the Jca Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live. Guys, make sure you share all our shows, like all our shows, and watch us on all our different other platforms, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and make sure you guys follow all our social media too as well. As you're listening to the Jca Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live. As for Atlanta Hawks, man, yeah, it's one of those seasons where you thought they had again another team with high expectations that couldn't deliver at the very tail end. Now they're in the playing game after a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Look, man, to me, that trade that they did, letting go of Cam Reddish, kind of hurt the team a lot. That was a guy who also helped on both ends of the floor, just a little bit more on the defensive side than the offensive side for sure, even though he was having an off year. But to me, I think that was a very unnecessary trade for them to do. Now look, they're at right now where they might not even make it at all to the playoffs. They face against Charlotte, a team that is an up and coming team. Team that's in the playoffs for the first time, and I don't know how long has it been since Charlotte's been in the playoffs that I can remember. But then again, after the Bulls season's over, it kind of tuned off just a little bit up into the finals. But that's neither here nor there. Look, man, Trey needs to be Trey. Trey needs to be that guy that they drafted in, and obviously a small dude like him to take over a team or to take over it's a tall task, man. And like you said, they're one and done. A loser out of that one is out. And I don't know how I see the Atlanta Hawks favoring in any of the matchups. Even if they do face the Miami Heat in the first round, I don't think they're a good team. They're a good enough team to even compete with the Miami Heat. So yeah, man. To be honest with you, I think Charlotte comes out of that game. Because I don't think Atlanta has enough. I don't think Trae Young has enough in him this year. And this year alone, I think this is probably where you could consider his off year.
Yeah, I mean, look, teams are going to have that, right? And players are going to have that. They had a magical season last year, and Trae Young was amazing.
Really did.
He was absolutely amazing last year. Ice Trey is where he got his nickname. But looking at this series, credit to the Charlotte Hornets, as you said, it's been a while since they had this type of success going into the playoffs. Now they had to do it in a playing game. If the rules stood as it did once before, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. It would have been another team just at least beating out. But I like this new rule. You give these teams that normally wouldn't have a chance, and see if a Cinderella story arises out of it. You know what I mean? And I think these two teams, they're pretty gifted offensively, man. They could both come out and have a strong showing. Defensively, though, I think that's where they hurt. I'm going to give a slight edge to Atlanta. I think, again, with the star power, Trae Young, the experience that they had last season in the postseason, I think this team can come out, put on a good showing for sure, and have some momentum going in against Miami, because they're definitely going to need it when they run into that buzzsaw. But I want to ask you, Eric, between these two teams, who wins and why?
Between Charlotte and Atlanta?
Yep.
Easy. I think Charlotte will probably take this
Really?
one. Yeah, I believe more in Charlotte and what they do. They're a little bit more of an exciting team, a young team for sure. And if you're talking about a one game play in game, or at least a one game to play for another game, I think Charlotte probably has it easy, not easy, but Charlotte probably will do just enough for me to play for the next game and contend for that 8th spot. I don't know. It's just offensively they have their struggles, but defensively they could pull down the camps. And it's a young, energetic team, man. They're high flying as much as you can. In a game like this, where Atlanta they also have the similar play style, I think I'll give the edge over Charlotte just a tad bit.
Okay, so Charlotte. So you have Charlotte. I have Atlanta. Let's stick with the East and go on to the other playing game as we have the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's already been said that you're not going to see Ben Simmons in the playing game, but there has been reports coming out there that we more than likely are going to see him in the first round if they are able to hold off the Cleveland Cavaliers. Eric, magical season for the Cavaliers. I don't think anybody thought they were going to have a season like they did this season. They made the playoffs. You know that this is one of the teams. It was the 8th seed, but they made it, and there was one of the teams that again, like nobody saw this coming. Right. So definitely a pleasant surprise, and the arrow's only going up there in Cleveland. And of course, the Brooklyn Nets are the Brooklyn Nets. You have Kevin Durant, who is, top 2 player in the league. You have Kyrie Irving, who's also, top 10 player in the league right now. So you have a squad there. You have good versatile pieces: Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin. Like I said, Ben Simmons might be making a return in the first round. So that being said, this is out of all the matchups in the playing games, this what I think is the most appetizing. But I want to ask you your opinion. Who do you think wins this one and why?
Brooklyn has to win this one, man. If you want to get a good rest, especially want to rest the players like Durant and Kyrie Irving just to heal their wounds just a little bit, this is the game that you need to win. They won't play until Sunday, so this is the perfect matchup for them. This is the perfect opportunity for them just to win. You're in, and you don't have to worry about playing another game between Atlanta or Charlotte. On what's the next game? Friday night, and then they won't play again until Monday or Tuesday, something like that, kind of close. So if you really need to rest your stars, and rest is really, really key, I think this is the game that Brooklyn really needs to win. I think they will win. What's Brooklyn's problem of what was Brooklyn's problem of being unhealthy is now Cleveland's problem. They're unhealthy coming into this playing game. They have key players that are banged up right now. Obviously, everybody's banged up, but that was a demise of Cleveland after the All-Star break, just like almost any other team too as well. The injuries caught up to them. Mm-hmm. So I see Brooklyn handling this game easily. You'll see Cleveland on that matchup against Charlotte, which is my choice, and then they'll play it into whoever gets the 8th seed.
Yeah. So you have Brooklyn. So regardless of the fact, whoever wins between Brooklyn and Cleveland goes on to play the Boston Celtics. That's just how.
Because the loser of that matchup plays against the winner of Charlotte and Atlanta.
No. That's not how the. So 2 teams in the play-ins go into the playoffs. Right now, the only guaranteed matchup in the East, the only guaranteed matchups you have in the East are the Bucks and Bulls and the Toronto Raptors and the 76ers. Whoever wins between Cleveland and Brooklyn faces Boston, and whoever wins between Charlotte and Atlanta faces Miami.
No, sir. The loser plays against the winner from Charlotte and Atlanta.
The loser of what? Really?
The loser between Brooklyn and Cleveland faces against the winner from Atlanta and Charlotte.
Is that how that works? Really?
Yes.
That's so stupid. Why? When did they do this?
They did this last year. They did this the last 2 years or last year.
There's no way. That's bro. I have not been paying attention.
I can see that.
That is so stupid.
I mean, I agree with you, but that's how they all got it, and this is how it works.
That makes no fucking sense. If that's what you're gonna do, I'm sorry for cursing, but if that's what you're gonna do, come on, man. Just give it just leave it the way it was and leave the 7 and 8 seed play against what they're supposed to play. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
I mean, that I don't know what to tell you, man. But
I get why the NBA and the owners wanted that. It's more money. It's another
for sure.
Who wouldn't
I
want?
mean, that's all it comes down to,
Who
man.
extra playoff games, right? But come on, man. That makes
Sponsorship, homie. That's how it is. I get it. It's the money. It brings more revenue. It gets that. I mean, the ones that suffer the most are the players, but that's how it works. The winner. I'm telling you, the winner between Cleveland and Brooklyn automatically gets the 7th spot. Just like the winner between the Clippers and Minnesota that we're going to get into later. Those are the winners. Those are the ones that when they're in, they get the 7th spot and they play against the team that's in second. Wow. While the loser in the 9th, 10th place is automatically eliminated, and the winner plays against the loser from the 7th and 8th matchup.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. See, Deontay even says it. The money ain't getting rid of the tiebreaker deciding the last 2 spots. It's been like that for like a year.
Disappointed in the NBA for doing that.
Dude, it's been out there. We literally had a podcast about this not so while, like a while back when it happened.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. That's I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel about that, Eric. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And I thought you were Tony Basketball, but I digress.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Last season, I didn't watch the playing games. And as you can tell, I watched the playoff. But you know, the playing games, I wasn't really a fan of. Wow,
I can see that.
Breaking news here, guys.
No, it's not it's breaking to you.
Yeah, breaking news to me. Yeah, I didn't know they did that. That's stupid. Stupid. If that's what they wanted to do, then have the 7th seed play the 11th seed, or the 9th seed, the 10th seed. Sorry, yeah, have the 7th seed play the 10th seed and the 8th seed play the 9th seed, and the winner of those 2 matchups goes and face whoever has the lower seed plays number 1 and the other one plays number 2. It's that simple. It's just like a wild card in the NFL. Why would you do? You know what I mean? Like what the hell is this tiebreaker thing going? Like, if you lose a game, you lose a game. That's it.
I don't know how to answer you that question, but I kind of like the format a little bit. But I get it where it's just a little bit complicated, but it happened. That's how it is. And then we'll see that matchup on Friday night between the team that lost and the team that won.
All right. So who are the 2 teams that make it to the first round?
Coming out of the East. Well, I got Brooklyn. Obviously, Brooklyn will automatically be going in if they do win tomorrow night. As for the other matchup, I have Cleveland and Charlotte. I think I'm gonna give the edge to Cleveland just a tad bit. I think they're just a better talented squad than Charlotte. Charlotte being the first time in there. Just the
you see how dumb that is, right? You could have just left the 7-8 seed alone and let them play.
I mean, it brings the entertainment value to the NBA, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, I'm sorry.
Giving participation.
Should I even apologize? I mean,
you're giving participation trophies to teams that don't deserve it, man. That's exactly what that is. All right, cool. So you have Cleveland, you have and Brooklyn advancing. Got it. I have Brooklyn and Atlanta. I think Brooklyn wins against Cleveland. They automatically make it. I think Atlanta beats Charlotte, and then they beat Cleveland. Again, I think experience does it here. Trae Young is going to go off. He's gonna be Ice Trae there in Cleveland, bowing and everything. I do believe Atlanta, Miami will be the first matchup in the first round, and then Brooklyn, Boston, 2 really good matchups for sure. But that's mine. For those in the comments, put who do you think is gonna win? Who wins the playing games? Who makes it to Miami? Who makes it to Boston in the East? And let's go into the West, Eric. As you listen to the Jca Sports Podcast, let's talk. We're talking NBA playoffs. We're talking playing games at the moment. The 7th versus the 8th seed in the West is Clippers versus Timberwolves. Before we get into the next matchup, who do you think wins this one and why?
What was the question? Sorry, I was typing the question and putting it on a Facebook chat. I do apologize.
Timberwolves, who wins?
Ooh. Now that was an interesting matchup simply because you got the Clippers and their little experience that they got in the playoffs too as well. But I like the Minnesota Timberwolves and how the way that they've been playing. They've been playing some really good basketball, especially the second half of the season. They're just a very exciting team to watch. I just don't think they have the I'm not the depth, but the talent and the experience enough to just beat the Clippers in this round. So I'm gonna give the slight edge to the Clippers, but I won't be surprised if Minnesota wins. But Clippers to me.
Okay, so you got the Clippers. I'm actually going Napo. I'm going Minnesota. I think Minnesota wins this round. Karl Anthony Towns, monster.
Yeah, monster, dude. That's why it's a tough matchup to it's a tough matchup for us to pick. I think Minnesota, like I said, Minnesota's been playing great. Cat is playing out of his sneakers. The Clippers, I don't know, man. There's something about the Clippers, you just don't count them out for some odd reason, even though they haven't really done anything.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, you Reggie Jackson isn't a scrub, and you had Paul George who came back. But without Kawhi Leonard, the team right now is a shell of itself. I'm saying it right now. I think the Timberwolves have a lot more talent than they do with Anthony Edwards and Patrick Beverly, and then of course Karl Anthony Towns. That team could be a sneaky good team going in. I see them automatically advancing. Going into the game after the day after is the Spurs and Pelicans, 9th and 10th place. Credit to the Pelicans, man.
Yeah,
credit to them. Without Zion Williamson, they traded for not Kyle Kuzma. They traded for who's on their team. They still have Jonas Valanciunas, who's a beast in himself, and then you have well, I can't see anything right now.
CJ McCollum.
CJ McCollum. I always get him and Kyle Kuzma.
I don't know why.
I don't know why. They're basically the same player. But CJ McCollum, that's who it is. CJ. So the credit to him. When they traded from Portland, guy took that team on his back, and he's a star. He's starting to show that he can lead a team, and then with the surrounding cast like Valanciunas and them boys there, they have something going. That game right there is going to be a good game, especially with the Spurs and the DeJounte Murray and the star that's he's rising up to be. Mm-hmm. I think out of all 4 games, Eric, that's the one that it's enticing to me the most. That one I'm looking forward to for sure.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the Pelicans, they have a squad. I mean, you kind of think about it. You look around outside of CJ McCollum, they also got Larry Nance. They also got Brandon Ingram. They got what that one point guard, that one sneaky dude that we've been seeing around lately, whatever his name. There has a Hispanic name.
His name's Jose, I think.
Jose, yeah, Alvarado, I think that's Alvarado. His name, right? Yeah, like it's a team that that's kind of surprising. I mean, Trey Murphy could shoot the lights out on that one too as well. I didn't even know Tony Snell played on that team, bro. That's one thing coming off the bench. You say Jonas Valanciunas, obviously he's a stud at center for sure. Zion, we might get to see Zion in the playoffs, maybe coming back. So this team obviously has a little depth to them. Obviously, it's just a top 5 starting lineup. I think the depth wise, they kind of fades away once they go into the bench. But you're right. I think of the 4 matchups, the 4 games that we have for the play-in tournament, this is probably the most better one because obviously you just never count out Pop and his Spurs team no matter what. But I'm gonna give the edge to the Pelicans, man. I think the Pelicans have just a little bit more to give. In this tournament, and it will probably be that sneaky team that will probably give any team that they face a hard time, especially when they go down to Nolans.
I'm going to go ahead and say the Spurs take it, and big reason coaching. Greg Popovich, man, the fact that he's here again after losing all these Hall of Fame players, after Kawhi Leonard's gone, it didn't take him long to find himself back into the playoffs.
No, it didn't.
And of course, you got credit to that organization and credit to him as one of the greatest coaches of all time. And they know what they're doing out there, man. They have a bright young future as they always do, right? But I think they make the play-ins. I think they make the playoffs. I mean, if they win the play-ins, I can see them and I can see the Timberwolves advancing to the Western Conference playoffs.
I got the Clippers and the Pelicans for this one.
Wow, you're going Oppo for real.
Yeah.
I don't see the Clippers doing it, man.
You know what? It's to me, it's blind faith with the Clippers. I for some reason I just expect a lot more from the Clippers to be in the position where they're at right now. That's what it is for me. And I could get and I say it's hard for me to say the Minnesota Timberwolves simply because of the inexperience that the Timberwolves have, but they have so much better talent than the Clippers. I just feel like the experience of the Clippers can pull them over the edge. Would I be surprised if the Timberwolves make it? No, not one bit. I think the Timberwolves deserve to be where they're at right now today. They're the better team coming into this playoffs. That are on the kind of on the lower seeds, and especially in this Western Conference. I won't be surprised if I see Minnesota at the 7th seed. But the one team that I do kind of see advancing to the next round for sure, or getting into the 8th spot, is the Pelicans. I think the Pelicans have enough talent to make it to the 8th seed, and also give a little trouble to the Phoenix Suns in the number 1 spot.
Yeah. All right, let's talk playoffs, man. First round. Who gets out the first round? All right, I'm gonna name these games. You let me know who you think wins and why. And
Gotcha.
let's start with the Western Conference. Let's do the West real quick.
Okay.
All right. So you said the Clippers win, right?
Right.
So if you said the Clippers and New Orleans, so that means Clippers versus Memphis.
Right.
Who wins and why?
Oh, I got Memphis. I think Memphis, even without John Morant, have been proven that these guys can ball without their star player. And I imagine when they have their star player back, they'll even be even better on top of that. I think Memphis is the dark horse for me, even though they're number 2. I think they're the dark horse to make it to the Western Conference Finals.
I agree with you 100%. I think Memphis has a squad, and with their star and John Morant, they're only gonna do he's gonna be on a tear this postseason.
He really is.
He's already established himself this past season, but I think this postseason is where he becomes literally one of the faces of the NBA real quick.
John Morant was supposed to be what Derrick Rose was supposed to be.
Yeah, it's that exactly. And it sucks for us, right? Okay, so you have Memphis over Clippers. Let's go with you. You also picked New Orleans. They will face the Phoenix Suns, who are literally the best team in the NBA all season. Who wins that one?
You know what? If this prevails, I honestly see the 76, the Phoenix Suns and the Northern Pelicans to actually go 7, bro. I think the Pelicans have enough talent to
really.
Yeah, I actually see them having enough talent
at all. Go ahead.
6 to 7. I see it a long series with the talent that the Pelicans have. I kind of do see it, especially if everybody comes back. But regardless of the fact, even if it's a long series, I still pick Phoenix over the Pelicans.
I think the Pelicans squeak one game.
I
don't see a sweep. I see it going. I see it going 5 games. Phoenix for sure wins that one. Better matchup here. Denver Nuggets, Golden State Warriors. You have the former MVP and Nikola Jokic versus the absolute, dominant squad in Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green. Who has the advantage here for you, Eric?
I got another long playoff series that I could see going 7 games too as well.
Okay,
and I think the Golden State Warriors will probably squeak out the win. They play to each other's weakness. Obviously, interior wise with Jokic, him playing point guard, shooting guard, small forward, center, power forward, a guy that could do it all in Jokic and it's just a matchup nightmare for anybody that he goes up against and any team that goes up against him. But the Warriors can shoot the lights out in any gym, home or away. But I do see a tight matchup. I do see the Warriors kind of squeaking out a good, hard fought 7-game series against the Denver Nuggets, and it's to me that's the most interesting matchup out of the Western Conference.
I disagree with you on your last point, saying that's the most interesting matchup. We'll get to that one right after this one, in my eyes at least. But I think I agree with you that Golden State wins. I don't see it going 7. I see it going 6. I think if you're going to give Jokic his credit and his due, he wins. Him and his team. He takes his team to at least 2 victories over the Golden State Warriors. Deontay Jones says Kawhi hasn't been ruled out if they make it past the play-in. That changes things. That absolutely changes. If Kawhi or Leonard could play in this playoffs, that absolutely changes a lot. But we'll see, right? But going back to Denver, Golden State, I think Golden State just has too much firepower. This team hasn't been healthy all season, but when they were at the beginning, you've seen how dominant they can be. I think if they get healthy, they get some momentum going, they're going to be a scary team, man. Scary 100%. Team, chip on the shoulder, under the radar team, and that's saying something with all those with all that talent on there.
Yeah, 100%, dude. You're right. I can say you're right, but
Right, I'm absolutely right,
just
and I'm right about this team. This next matchup
it's just
being,
I just think the Warriors are gonna be for me, bro.
yeah, I get you, and I think this matchup is the matchup you were talking about earlier, Eric. And this one's going to be one of the greatest matchups in this conference. In the Dallas Mavericks against the Utah Jazz, you have a disgruntled and a guy who's literally, trying to prove everybody wrong in Utah, and then you have a rising star in Dallas, right?
Okay.
Between these two guys, between these two teams, who do you give the edge to?
I would give the advantage to a healthy Luka Doncic, but with his calf injury, this is why I didn't pick it as the most interesting matchup in the Western Conference. Because what kind of Luka we're gonna get? Now, I had this injury literally this past summer in a calf injury, and it's not a pretty it's not a pretty injury to have. That's a make or break kind of injury for you because it's the same similar calf injury that Kevin Durant had when he popped his Achilles uh with the Golden State Warriors. So if it was a healthy Luka, then yes. But to me, Luka's everything to the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know what kind of Luka we're gonna get, and for that reason and that reason alone, I'm gonna go with the Utah Jazz, and will probably be a short series in a 5-game series.
Donovan Mitchell is a stud. Like I said, he was a little bit disgruntled this season.
Yeah, the rumors about him and Gobert.
Yeah, rumors about him and Gobert, but that's why I think the Mavericks squeak out a win here because of that. Hopefully the Utah Jazz could cancel out the noise, and if so, then I agree with you. But that's why I think this matchup is going to be one of the greatest matchups. It's going to be such a close series. Luka is an absolute star. I think if he's gonna come out, he's gonna come show out. He's gonna be here in the playoffs. This is where he needs to do it. And I want to give the edge to the Mavericks because I want to see Lucas succeed so bad. He's one of my favorite players in the league.
Same.
So I'm hoping he can. I'm hoping they can. But I would not be surprised at all if Donovan Mitchell takes over and the Utah Jazz advance out of the first round of the Western Conference.
That health of Luka Doncic. I mean, look, Dallas has a decent squad around him too as well. Don't get me wrong. It's just to me, Luka's everything, man. Luka is the Dallas Mavericks, and you may have Tim Hardaway Jr., you may have Spencer Dinwiddie, you may have these other players that you have on the squad too as well. But at the same time, dude, Luka is everything to this team. And if Luka's not 100%, this team is not 100%. Yeah. So this is why Utah, to me, we might not even see Luka in game 1 on Saturday. So that to me, that's everything. I still say Utah though.
Yeah, absolutely. So we both agree in a sense. We have Phoenix, Memphis, and Golden State coming out. We differ on Dallas and Utah, but that's the Western Conference. That's the Western Conference playoffs. Moving on to the Eastern Conference, Eric, you've picked Brooklyn and you've picked Charlotte.
Yes.
So if Charlotte would win, they would face the Miami Heat. Who wins that matchup and why?
Heat in 5. I think the Miami Heat is probably the best coached team in the East with no star. I think that just says it all themselves. I mean, obviously, or not star, but with no superstar to that aspect. They have stars, they have all stars, but they don't have the superstar that most of the teams that we just mentioned, especially for the Western Conference. But they are well coached by Eric Spoelstra, who is still has that job even after the LeBron stages. So Miami Heat in 5. I think it's going to be an easy game for them, or easy series. A young and experienced team in Charlotte. Definitely Heat in 5.
Heat in 5. Okay. I could see the Heat sweeping Charlotte. I could see them.
I wouldn't be surprised either. That won't be a surprise either. But I'll give Charlotte a little credit when they go home.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. I could definitely see the Heat sweeping. That's who I have. I have the Heat. I have the Heat in 4 against. But I didn't pick Charlotte. I picked Atlanta, and I still see the same result. I still see Miami Heat sweeping the Atlanta Hawks 4-0, and that's saying something because I'm a huge fan of Trae Young as well. I think what he can do in the playoffs is amazing. I'm hoping I see the same Trae Young I seen last season in the playoffs. If not, it's going to be a quick series for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Yep. All right. You also picked. We think we both picked Brooklyn to face Boston. This is where it gets interesting because Boston has been playing out of its mind this past couple months. They made it all the way to the second seed, and rightfully so. Great team. But then you have Brooklyn, who struggled with injuries, struggled with consistency. Now you have Kyrie, who's able to play full time. Kevin Durant's back healthy. You may get back Ben Simmons in this playoff game against Boston. Who has the edge here, Eric? Do you give it to the Celtics, who've been consistent these last couple of months, or do you want to give it to Brooklyn, who's been up and down all season?
This is going to be a very interesting matchup for sure, because I think this is probably the only tight one in the Eastern Conference that I see that could give you problems, simply because of the running gun offense that the Boston Celtics have and the lack of defense that the Brooklyn Nets have, but also the scoring at will that Brooklyn has compared to the young and inconsistency of the Boston Celtics and the inexperience of being in the playoffs of that magnitude. I'll give the edge, and I said it, and I'm sticking to it. The East is going through Brooklyn, so I got to keep it that way. I think but Brooklyn's going to have a hard fought battle for sure. I could see Brooklyn winning in 6, a pretty long series.
Okay, I agree. I have Brooklyn in. I have them in 7. I think this.
I don't. Yeah, the one too.
I think this series goes to a game 7. I'm gonna give Boston their due respect. The only reason why I'm choosing Brooklyn is because of Kevin Durant. I come out here a lot and I talk a lot about Kevin Durant, how I feel like he's not the best player in the NBA and the blah blah blah. Right, all that is legit. I think I still believe in all that, but I still give the man respect. I still give his talent respect. And right now, he's one of the greatest players in the league. So I'm going to give him his respect. And I think that because of Kevin Durant, the Brooklyn Nets advance to the next round and faces whoever.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. So we both leading towards Miami and Brooklyn there. Let's move on to the 3-6 matchup, which was the Milwaukee Bucks and our beloved Chicago Bulls. You know this one's near and dear to our heart, Eric, as we are both Bulls fans.
For sure.
This is obviously, like, I'm a huge Giannis fan. Everyone knows it. It's nothing. It's not a secret. But I'll pick the Bulls over him all day, any day of the week, twice on Sunday. So my heart wants to say the Bulls, Eric, but my head is saying Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee wins this. I'm hoping. I'm gonna say they win it in 5. I'm gonna give the Bulls one game. I'm gonna give it to the Chicago Bulls. One game only. I think Giannis goes off and absolutely destroys them the other 4 games. But yeah, the Bulls lose in 5 to Milwaukee Bucks. What do you have?
You gave the Bulls one game more credit than I do. I think this is probably going to be the only series that I'm going to say that's going to end in a sweep. I just don't see the Bulls having enough talent to even score and B even containing or slowing down Giannis Antetokounmpo. As much as I got what I want from the Chicago Bulls. They're in the playoffs. They're above 500. All my check marks for the Chicago Bulls have been checked. If I get one playoff victory, that's great. Kudos, but I don't see that. I'm trying to find a way to even give them one win, especially how they've been playing recently. So this is going to be the only sweep out of the whole entire playoffs. I think the Bucks in 4.
Yep, absolutely. Jonathan in the comments says if the Bulls keep game 2 close, they'll win 1. If they get blown out in both games in Milwaukee, they won't win a game. I agree.
I was saying it, and I was saying it at work, and I'm gonna say it again. There's only gonna be one close game throughout this playoff series, and that's game number 3 when they play at home. Everything else, to me, I think the Bulls are gonna lose by double digits in all their losses.
Yeah, I agree. It sucks to say because again, we were so high. I was so high on this team coming in, but you know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I'm still gonna be rooting for them every single game, even though I expect them to lose. I'm gonna be at every single playoff game. I'm gonna be excited that they're in the playoffs. I'm gonna relish the fact that they're here. I'm gonna take advantage of it and just enjoy some playoff basketball, especially with my favorite team. But I have Milwaukee. You have Milwaukee. Then going on to the last final matchup in the Eastern Conference: Philadelphia versus Toronto. It looks like Joel Embiid is going to win the MVP, Eric.
Yep.
Will he win a playoff series here against the Toronto Raptors?
Well, Joel Embiid lost me $20 because I put $20 on John Morant to be MVP, but that wasn't ever since he got hurt. I see Toronto winning one game. I think this game finishes in 5. I think Philadelphia, by and large, is probably the second best team in the Eastern Conference. Philly in 5. I think there's too much Embiid, too big of a problem for Toronto.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think Embiid and the 76ers sweep the Toronto Raptors.
Wow, sweep. I'll give Toronto a little bit credit.
I'm not giving them credit. I think, look, I personally feel the Bulls are a better team than the Toronto Raptors. I think the Bulls have just been playing straight trash since the last season, the last couple months. So I mean, they literally made the playoffs on a downward spiral, and Toronto caught up with them. But I'm not giving Toronto that much credit. I give them credit to make the playoffs. They're a good team. They're a good up and coming team. But they don't have a chance against Philadelphia. We have Deontay in the comments again saying if Tobias Harris doesn't show up, Philly will be in trouble. They might just be, and then he's an upset alert right here. Wow, he's going up. He thinks that Toronto Raptors actually might beat the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't think there's a chance.
I can see that, but in this series alone, if it was another team outside of Toronto, I would agree with Deontay here. But they still have Joel Embiid. The best player right now in the NBA. Like you said, he's going to win the MVP. I think he's going to show out. The one thing that scares me outside of Tobias Harris is what James Harden in the playoffs you're going to get. I think that's always going to be the issue right there for me. But at least in this round only, Toronto will get just one game out of Philadelphia, and Philadelphia win in 5.
Yeah, this has been the Jca Sports Podcast, guys. The NBA playoffs are this week. It's gonna be an exciting.
Starts manana.
It's gonna be exciting. I'm excited, bro. I can't wait. I love basketball. I love playoffs. I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be my first playing game watching. So let's see what happens here. I'm not a fan of the way they do things, but it is what it is. I'm gonna be watching as a spectator, as a fan. Wednesday we'll go more into the playoffs. We'll dive deeper into the Bulls matchup with the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll talk about matchups. We'll talk about what we expect to happen. Even though we both said that the Bulls will lose, we'll go further into detail as what we think will happen in that series against the defending champions in the Milwaukee Bucks. And we might even have special guests, Top 5 Sports host. Great other podcast show. These guys know what they're talking about when it comes to basketball and the Chicago Bulls. That's their specialty, and they might join us on Wednesday. So we'll let you guys know that for sure tomorrow. But yeah, man, great show. Cubs have a bright star in Suzuki. They look like they have a little squad going. The White Sox can be as dominant as ever with their offense, and let's see where their pitching can take them. And of course, Chicago Bulls. Great regular season, Eric. 46 wins. I think that's a huge upgrade from the prior seasons.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see where they can go coming from here. But good test against the defending champs. This is what you want out of your basketball team, to see where they contend, where they are in the eyes of a championship when they face against the defending ones in the Milwaukee Bucks. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for Deontay for joining us in the comments. Thank you, Eric. For John, my name is Jose. You're listening to Jca Sports Podcast. Again, guys, we'll be back on Wednesday, better than ever. So yeah, let's hit the outro. Let's get out.
What a finish! Wow, that is unfreaking believable. What a way for a ball game to end.
Oh, that's what happened. Oh, that's terrible. My God. The humanity.
They may be the drunkest couple in the history of sporting events.
I loved his face.
I would suspect that fan is done for the night. Here's the thing. When you steal something, don't wear it.